Hi guys, I just wanted to make a vlog which I have tried to record a couple of times now and ended up as sort of 20-minute rants. So I'm trying to sort of condense this down as much as I can. I've been up since like 2:30 this morning and then sort of like sporadically napping, trying to make sense of all these thoughts that were going around my head last night. A lot of it is relating to just to give it some context, a video which I watched uploaded by Tomska about a week ago, wherein he talks about his depression, which he's been quite open about recently, and sort of like, you know, his issues with body image and the fact that his parents got divorced and he's just lost a family pet, and you know, all of these things. And this is the difficulty with YouTube, and it being such a huge community, because you want to reach out and try and comfort people as much as you can, and you know, you recognise that people are only human and that sometimes they need support, and leaving a comment or sending a message or sending a tweet doesn't quite have that personalised touch. But I just kind of wanted to put out like an open video letter to Tomska, to the internet, to anyone who needs, you know, just a little bit of something to relate to more than anything. I mean, I'm by no means a trained counsellor, no way. And the experience I have with depression is very much my own, and I am fully aware that everyone's is different and every single person is different, and that what works for some people will not work for others. But I'm definitely not trying to rehash the "it gets better" thing, because the fact is with depression, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get to a level where you can function and that's it. You know, you deal with it and you go through life, and this is as good as it gets. You have better days, but you don't have good days. For some of you know me quite well, and for those of you that don't, and even some of you that do, you might not know this. I've always been quite open with it, but I have clinical depression and anxiety, which is so bad sometimes I can't bring myself to leave the house. I also have borderline personality disorder, which means that my relationships with a lot of people are completely skewed. I can be talking to someone and they will say something, you know, in the wrong tone of voice, and suddenly they're my worst enemy forever. You know, they hate me and I can't deal with them anymore. And after years of counselling and going to group meets and self-therapy, music therapy, art therapy, anything I could try, I finally got to a place last year where I was level. I found my place. I still have bad days. I still have panic attacks. I still have breakdowns very occasionally. Like I said, better days, not necessarily good days, but slowly getting there to the point where I could almost class a few days as good days. And with things like Tomska's situation, the thing that struck me about that video and the fact that he put it up was the fact that not only did I want to sort of reach out and, you know, sort of like say to him, look dude, it sucks, you know, I just want him to know that it sucks, it does, and validation is the most important step, I think, rather than anyone trying to offer advice or anything. And it's just sort of like, you know, it's the knowing that someone out there can relate and understands that it sucks. It fucking sucks. My experience is only personal with sort of like depression, and especially the past couple of years when it has properly yo-yoed. I mean, my parents got divorced at 15 and I didn't actually deal with that fact until I was 20. And it caused all sorts of problems. But now you realise once you reach a certain age that your parents are only human. Your whole family is only human, and human beings are inherently flawed. And the day you realise that your parents are not, your parents are not infallible, that they are very much problematic, is scary. And even when something is inevitable, it still hurts. It's like the death of a loved one. You can know that, your grandmother is dying for years, and when she dies, it's still a shock. You can't plan for these type of things, and you can't prepare yourself as much as you might try. But it sucks. It genuinely fucking sucks. But all I would say to people, again, trying to avoid the it gets better train, is more, it doesn't get better, it gets easier. Depression is like grief, because you're constantly mourning a part of your life which you don't have anymore. I can just about remember times when I was genuinely happy and didn't feel like I had this cloud over my head. Because it's literally what it feels like. You feel like people are looking at you on the street, like they can tell that you're depressed, or they can tell that you're anxious. And, people can't tell generally, unless you're walking around with a t-shirt that says "I am depressed" on it. So many people go through it. It's like 1 in 4 people now in the UK. It's crazy. But it does suck, and it gets easier. Once you find a level, once you've dealt with everything and your brain chemistry has calmed down, it gets better. It gets better. It gets easier. Last year, about a year and a half ago, I had a big breakdown. I had been pouring all of my time and energy into a friend who had clinical depression like me, and I thought he was just like me and wanted to get better after the loss of a close loved one, and he didn't. And he tried to tell me this, and me stupidly completely ignored him and continuously went after the whole, come on, we can go do this, we can go do that, we can sort your head out, we can do this therapy, we can do that therapy. Completely missing the point. He was basically going, fuck off, leave me alone, I don't want this. And it took me a while. I say a while, it took me ruining my relationship at the time to realise that I was wasting my time. And it sounds harsh, but I was wasting my time. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. And that was a tough lesson. But all throughout this time, because I was pouring so much energy into helping other people and I wasn't helping myself or keeping up with any of my therapies or anything like that, I started seeing things as, I just have to get through this week to get to the weekend and then it's over. And there was nothing after that. It was just a void. It was like, that's it, it's over, it's done, it ends. And what ends, I don't know. And I started feeling like I was some kind of suicidal, because I didn't want to die. I just wanted things to end. Like, I just wanted a sense of finality. Like, it's one of the most difficult things to explain, because it's one of the most difficult things I've been through. Just not even feeling anything. It's just sort of like, I just want to get through this and then it's done and it's over. And you sort of, but what's over? I don't know. It's just over. And, again, looking into it more and thinking about it more, it is a classic sign of depression, not having feeling about things. But it's so difficult to recognise sometimes, especially when you're trying to do so much. And I think when your depression gets that bad that you stop recognising symptoms of it and you stop being able to separate yourself from the illness, you need to take a step back, take some time off, and just find yourself, find what works for you, and get back on a level. it's easier said than done a lot of the time, especially in modern capitalist world where work equals everything, you know, and we're basically told that if you don't work, you're fucking useless, and no one's willing to help you if you have a mental illness because they think you're making it up, and they don't treat it with the same seriousness that they treat other things. It is very, very difficult. But you can't spend your whole life mourning the loss of your happiness. You need to go out there and you need to try your best to get it back if you want to make any form of progress. And some people don't, and that's fine. If you don't think that you can make it and you don't want to try because of that, it's your choice entirely. And I can understand the fear of not wanting to lose even more. Because once you think that something's going to work, then it doesn't, and you're like, hey, what was the point in that? I got my hopes up, you know. I get that, but it does get easier, and I know that that's like the tagline here. It gets easier. It gets easier to distinguish between yourself and your illness, and know what is you thinking and what is the illness thinking, and fucking sirens, and you know, to separate that from your life, and that makes fighting it so much easier. It gets easier to find what therapies work for you and which ones don't. It gets easier to talk to people once you start doing therapies and you start recognising problems and you start recognising that you're not the only one. It does genuinely get easier, and even if you are just level and you just have better days, not good days, that's still progress. If you can function with medication, without medication, with counselling, without counselling, with therapies, without therapies, with service dogs, without service dogs, whichever way you find, no one is the same. What works for someone will not work for someone else necessarily. And this is the important thing. People will offer advice constantly because everyone thinks they know best with depression. Whether it's something as asinine as, have you just tried being happy? Which, if I had £1 for every time I heard that, I could seriously, or I could buy hitmen to kill every single person who has ever fucking said that to me. You know, the whole, what have you got to be depressed about? That's not how depression works. Like, it's like cancer. Cancer doesn't give a fuck that you've got 2 boats and 15 cars and $4 million in the bank. I mean, the thing that really gets me is depression was in the spotlight, sort of like with Robin Williams. And suddenly it disappeared. They swept it all under the rug because, God forbid, we actually have depression humanised in someone that everyone loved and adored, and sort of like, you know, we can actually focus on the problem and, oh my God, we can actually get treatment for it. No one does drives for depression like they do for the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS, sorry. I always say ASL, sorry. Not American Sign Language. That's fine. But no one tries to draw attention to it much anymore, because when someone dies from it, that's a big thing. But then it's gone. And every illness should be treated with the same importance. The difference is with mental illness, people think you're making it up as an excuse. Because there are no physical scars necessarily. I mean, I know people do self-harm, and that is a whole different issue, because I can understand, again, the loss of reality, but self-harming is not the answer. You know, and again, I could go off on one with that, but depression is a fight, a constant fight, against people who don't believe you, against yourself, against families a lot of the time who think that it's their fault that you're depressed and feel guilty about it. It's fighting laws, it's fighting discrimination, it's fighting against something that you can't fight physically, and that's the most difficult thing, is keeping a positive mindset. But I know I've been rambling on for a bit. I just really need to get this out and basically say to everyone who might have been affected by that video, because I know young people do watch his channel, like Tomska's channel, for ASDF movies and things like that, and I sort of worry in a way that they're gonna watch that video and basically be like, oh well, if I'm depressed and there's no end, you know, I'm gonna end up having a breakdown as well, and I'm gonna end up having this codependent relationship with something. And you know, I just want to tell everyone that yeah, it sucks, and you should never feel anything but validated. And if anyone ever tries to tell you that you shouldn't feel like this because you have nothing to be sad about, tell them to fuck off. Just, if it's your parents and you can't tell them to fuck off, just nod, ignore them, blank them out, go to your room, listen to your favourite song, wipe that conversation from your head, and accept the fact that your parents are idiots who don't know anything, who aren't willing to know anything, and who just need to stay out if they're not going to help. Because there's nothing more damaging than telling someone with mental illness that it's all in their head. Because that's the fucking point. It's like, I hate that term, it's all in your head. No way, I thought it was my fucking toes. The point is, you're valid, your problems are valid, everything about you is valid, but there is help out there. There is help, and I will be posting below the numbers for depression and suicide awareness lines in the UK and in US and Canada, and just for Nerd Girl, I'll put it for Australia as well, because I love you, wifey. And like, I know I don't have a huge following, I need to get this out. It's been going around my head all night, and I want to help people as much as I can. And I know that's almost impossible with how big the world is, but if one person watches this video and it helps them, I've done some good. And while it sucks, I hope everyone going through this, everyone who knows someone going through this, everyone who will or has been through this, I just want you to know that I personally will always be here to offer love, support, everything I can, you know, within the realms of being sensible and things like that. I wish that I could open up houses, I wish that I could open up centres, I wish I could do everything for people, and maybe if we all get together, enough of us get together, we can. But for now, I just want you to know that your problems are valid, and especially to Tomska, not that he's ever going to watch this in any way, shape or form, but it sucks, and I'm really sorry about what you're going through. And again, you wish that you had a magic wand that you could wave and help people. But it does get easier with time. Once everything's settled down, it won't be easy while all of this is going on. And never feel bad that at 25 years old, you're still being affected by these things. I'm 26 in August. I'm giving birth to a boy in December, and I'm terrified I'm going to screw him up. But I'm not going to let my mental illness, destroy the possibility that I'm going to have a happy life with my son and with Panda, and that things will continue getting easier. So, love to you all. Thank you for listening to my rambling. Sorry it's taken so long, and take care.